Good morning, everyone. This is Rhea May Espinosa, a PT intern under Miss Mars, and today we will be discussing middle childhood development, which encompasses the physical, cognitive, and social changes children experience between the ages of 4 and 11 years old. This is a dynamic period of growth and learning, so let's explore how children progress during these years. Starting with physical development, children in middle childhood continue to grow steadily but at a slower pace than during infancy. On average, children gain about 2 inches in height each year. For example, a 6-year-old may grow from 45 to 47 inches in just 1 year. At 6 years old, the child's weight is about 7 times their birth weight. Now let's talk about nutrition. During middle childhood, proper nutrition is crucial for growth and development. A balanced diet with fruits, vegetable proteins, and whole grains is essential. It is important to avoid junk food and limit sugary drinks to prevent obesity. For example, instead of candy, offer fruits and replace chips with healthier options such as carrot sticks. Calcium-rich foods like milk help strengthen bones, and protein supports muscle growth. Encouraging healthy eating habits now lays the foundation for better physical and cognitive development. Now let's go back to physical changes. Another physical change is that their head size becomes more proportional to the rest of the body. Children also begins to lose their teeth, which are replaced by permanent teeth. For example, a 7-year-old may start losing their front teeth and gain new larger ones. Their trunk also becomes thinner and longer, and their arms and legs stretched out. A child's chest also becomes broader and flatter as they continue to mature physically. Now, during motor development, children refine their skills. For example, boys often become stronger than girls due to hormonal influences, which you can see in activities like lifting heavier objects and playing physically demanding sports. On the other hand, girls tend to be more graceful and accurate in movements, excelling in activities such as dance or gymnastics. As their balance improves, children often become better at riding bikes or playing sports like soccer and basketball, where coordination and speed are essential. Now let's talk about cognitive development. According to Piaget, children in middle childhood are in the concrete operational stage, which means they can develop the ability to think logically about concrete events. One of the key accomplishments in this stage is conservation, understanding that certain properties of an object, such as its volume or mass, remain the same even if it changes shape. For example, if the child spills water from a bottle onto the floor, they'll realize that the amount of water hasn't changed even though its form has. This is different from early childhood, where children often believe that water has somehow disappeared or decreased. Another important cognitive milestone is serration, which refers to the ability to arrange objects in specific order based on characteristics like size. For instance, a child may be asked to line up blocks from smallest to largest, and will now be able to do the task with ease. Similarly, classification skills improve, meaning children can group objects into categories based on shared characteristics. For example, a child might organize a set of animals into groups such as mammals, reptiles, and birds. Children also develop reversibility, the ability to understand that actions or operations can be reversed. This cognitive skills with problem solving, such as retracing their steps if they lose something. Imagine a child who misplaced their backpack. By age 8, they can think back through their actions. I came home, I put it by the door, then went to the kitchen. That to figure out where they left it. In addition, numeration becomes more sophisticated. Children begins to understand numbers in a more abstract way, allowing them to grasp concepts like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. This is why formal schooling during this period focuses heavily on developing math skills, such as learning how to solve problems using numbers. Moving to theories of intelligence, it is also under cognitive development. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences suggests that intelligence is not a single ability but rather a combination of different types of intelligences. For example, some children excel in linguistic intelligence, showing an early aptitude for reading and writing, while others may display musical intelligence, excelling in playing instruments or understanding rhythm. Children who are good at puzzles or mathematics often exhibit logical mathematical intelligence, while those who are talented in art or navigation may show strengths in spatial intelligence. In contrast, children who are highly active and coordinated may have strong bodily kinesthetic intelligence, excelling in physical activities like sports or dance. Interpersonal and interpersonal intelligence are crucial for understanding others' emotions and one's own feeling, which become more apparent as children develop socially. Lastly, we have naturalist intelligence. This is intelligence in nature. Next, we're going to explore Sternberg's triarchic model of intelligence, which categorizes intelligence into three components: meta components, performance components, and knowledge acquisition components. First, let's talk about meta components. These are the mental processes that help us plan, monitor, and evaluate how we approach problems. For example, when a middle school student is given a science project, they might first outline their steps, deciding on a topic, gathering materials, and setting deadlines. If they realize they're running out of time, they may adjust their plan. Next, we have performance components, which help us execute the plans made by meta components. Using our science project example, this is where the student actually conducts the experiment, collects data, and writes report. Imagine a student working on a volcano project, mixing baking soda and vinegar to demonstrate an eruption. Next, we have knowledge acquisition components. These help us learn how to learn and gather the information we need to solve problems. For instance, a middle school student might struggle with fractions, so they watch online tutorials or ask their teacher for help to gain the necessary skills. Next, we have experience and intelligence. Sternberg also emphasizes the importance of experience in developing intelligence. For example, a child who has played a team sport learns how to work with others, strategize, and adapt to different situations, which enhances their problem-solving skills. Finally, the context of intelligence refers to our ability to adapt to cultural norms and expectations. For example, a child in a multicultural classroom learns to appreciate diverse perspectives when working on group projects. This ability to adapt can be crucial in helping them collaborate effectively. We then go to Bloom's taxonomy, which categorizes different levels of thinking skills in education. First one is knowledge. This involves recalling facts. For example, in a science class, students might learn the names of planets in our solar system. Next is comprehension, where students understand what is being communicated. For instance, after reading a chapter in a book, a student should be able to explain the main idea and key events. The third level is application, where the students use their knowledge in real-world situations. For example, if they learn about the water cycle in science, they might create a simple diagram showing how rain forms and travels back to rivers. Next is analysis, which involves breaking down information and finding relationships. In history class, students might compare different cultures to understand their similarities and differences. The fifth level is synthesis, where students combine different ideas to create something new. For example, a student might write a creative story that incorporates elements from various fairy tales, or combine facts from different subjects into a multimedia presentation. Finally, we have evaluation, where students make judgment based on criteria. For instance, in a literature class, they might discuss the motives of a character in a story and debate whether their actions were justified. Today, we are diving into language development with a focus on reading acquisition. We'll explore both stage and non-stage theories that describe how children develop reading skills. Let's start with stage theory, which suggests that children's reading abilities change qualitatively over time. In the first stage, children aged 6 to 7 begin to learn the relationship between letters and sounds. They start to read simple text, often using phonics to decode words. For example, a child might learn that the letter B makes the word B and can blend that with the vowel sound to read the word bat. Stage 2, as children progresses to age 7 to 8, they gain greater fluency in reading simple stories. At this stage, they are more confident and can read aloud with better expression. They begin to engage with the text, asking questions about the characters and the plot. Finally, from age 9 to 13, reading becomes a tool for knowledge. Children are not just reading for fun, they're using reading to learn about different subjects such as science, history, and math. They can tackle more complex tasks and begin to analyze information. Now let's discuss the non-stage theory, which suggests that reading unfolds naturally and can vary from child to child. This model emphasized the gradual development of reading skills without strict changes. In this first category, emergent readers can identify letters and recognize common words. They might not be reading full sentences yet, but are starting to understand that the text has meaning. For example, they can recognize their own name or the title of their favorite book. As children become developing readers, they start to understand that the relationship between sound and symbol. They are paying close attention to print and beginning to read simple sentences. At this stage, they may read aloud and start to notice punctuation and sentence structure. Finally, we have independent readers who can read on their own without assistance. They can choose their own books, enjoy more complex narratives, and can discuss what they read With others, they might explore different genres and learn to appreciate various writing styles. Moving on to moral development, Piaget described two stages, heteronymous morality and autonomous morality. In the heteronymous stage, ages 4 to 7, children view rules as fixed and unchangeable. For example, if a child breaks a rule, they believe that punishment will follow immediately, regardless of the intent behind their action. However, by age 7 to 11, children enter the autonomous stage, where they begin to understand that rules are flexible and can be changed through mutual agreement. They also start to consider the intention behind actions. For example, a child may recognize that accidentally breaking a cup is not as bad as intentionally breaking it. For Kohlberg's stages of moral development, which outlines how children develop their moral reasoning through different levels. Understanding these stages help us comprehend how children perceive right and wrong as they grow. Now, for level 1, we have pre-conventional, ages 4 to 10. Stage 1. In stage 1, children view rules as fixed and absolute. They obey rules to avoid punishment. For example, a child might refrain from hitting a sibling not because they understand it's wrong, but because they fear getting scolded. Stage 2, moving to stage 2, children start to see that they can get something out of following the rules. They obey rules based on their self-interest, often viewing actions in terms of rewards. For instance, a child may do their homework not just to learn but to earn praise or extra playtime. For level 2, conventional stage, or ages 10 to 13, in stage 3, children begin to seek approvals of others. They understand that good behavior earns them social approval and that people are concerned about each other's feelings. For example, a child might share their toys to be liked by their peers or to avoid disappointing a friend. In stage 4 involves a focus on maintaining social order. Children recognize that rules are essential for a functioning society and start to obey laws. For instance, a child might think, I shouldn't steal because it's against the law, and it's important to follow the law to keep everyone safe. For level 3, we have post-conventional stage, ages 13 and up. In stage 5, at this stage, individuals begin to see laws as social contracts that can be changed for the greater good. They understand that sometimes laws can need to be changed to reflect justice and individual rights. For example, a teenager might advocate for a change in school policies that they believe is unfair. Finally, stage 6, it involves making moral decisions based on universal ethical principles. This stage is about having an informed conscience and making decisions that align with personal moral beliefs even if they conflict with laws. For instance, a person might choose to protect against a law they believe is unjust, like in the case of civil rights movements. Now, let's explore some key elements that contribute to a child's personal sense of self. These elements are crucial for their development and overall well-being. Let's break them down one by one. First, we have self-esteem. This refers to how children perceive their own worth compared to others. Self-esteem can fluctuate and may be influenced by various factors, including personal appearance and social interactions. Next, we have competence, which refers to how capable children feel across different areas, including scholastic competence, how well they perform in school; athletic competence, their ability in sports or physical activities; likability by peers, how well they relate to their friends and peers; physical appearance, how they perceive their looks; and behavioral conduct, their behavioral in social settings. It's important to note that children often have a sawtooth profile of competence, meaning their feelings of adequacy can rise and fall in different areas. Next, we have support from important people in their environment. The third element is support from important people in a children's environment, such as parents, teachers, and friends. When children feel supported and appreciated, they develop a stronger sense of self-worth. This support should include honest evaluation and recognition of their achievements. Lastly, we have self-control, which is the ability to manage impulses, emotions, and desires. And during the ages of 7 to 12, children develop critical self-control skills that can help them resist negative behaviors such as aggression or delinquency. In summary, self-esteem, competence, support from others, and self-control are crucial components in helping children form a satisfying sense of self. As educators and caregivers, we can foster these elements by providing encouragement, honest feedbacks, and opportunities for children to develop their skills. Now let's begin with the chronic offenders development pathway, which can be broken down into three main stages. First stage is preschool years. During this stage, children may display hyperactive and oppositional behaviors. This can include traits like stubbornness, defiance, bullying, and even tendencies to run away. Think about a child in preschool who consistently refuses to follow rules, pushes others during playtime, or has frequent temper tantrums. These behaviors can be early indicators of future challenges. Next stage, we have school years. As children enter school, those with earlier behavioral issues might exhibit more frequent aggressive behavior. This includes lying, shoplifting, fighting, or even fire setting. An example would be consider a child who starts lying to avoid consequences at school, or who gets into physical fights with peers over minor disputes. These actions can escalate if not addressed early on. Next stage would be adolescence. By adolescence, delinquent behavior can manifest in varied forms such as stealing cars, attacking individuals, or selling drugs. Example, imagine a teenager who engages in theft to fit in with peers or to gain material possessions. This behavior often stems from previous unsolved issues and peer influences. Now, several clues and characteristics can indicate which children may be at risk for delinquent behavior. Genetics. There might be genetic factors that predispose certain children to delinquency. Gender differences. Research shows that males are more prone to criminal behavior, which can be influenced by socialization and societal expectations. Third, attitude. Children displaying hostile, defiant, and resentful attitudes are often more likely to engage in delinquent behaviors. Fourth, we have psychological factors. Some children might struggle with concrete thinking rather than abstract reasoning, making it challenging for them to navigate complex social situations. Additionally, they might be poor problem solvers. And lastly, we have socio-cultural background. Children raised in homes lacking understanding, affection, stability, and moral clarity are at greater risk for developing delinquent behavior. Another critical factor in delinquency is impulsivity and self control. Many of these children struggle to regulate their impulses and emotions and desires. For instance, a child who impulsively reacts in anger during a disagreement may not be developed adequate self control, leading to aggressive outbursts that escalate into more severe issues. Next, we have the influence of peers. It is significant in a child's development. Children often choose friends who are sociologically compatible with them, and their friendships can adapt to meet each other's needs. Now let's discuss Selman's theory of social perspective taking, which outlines how children's understanding of relationship evolves. Level 0, 3 to 6 years old. At this age, children are undifferentiated and egocentric. Their friendship are based on closeness and they have little understanding of others' perspective. Example, a child may have a best friend simply because they live next door without considering how their friend feels. Level 1, we have 5 to 9 years old. Here, friendship become more differentiated and subjective with a focus on self. A child might view a friend as someone who does what they want or vice versa. Example, if a child only plays with a friend when they agree to play their favorite game, it shows a self-centered view of friendship. Level 2, we have 7 to 12 years old. Relationship at this stage become more reciprocal. Children start to recognize that friendships depend on desirable interaction, leading to a meeting of minds. Example, children may negotiate the rules of a game together, showing mutual respect and understanding in their interaction. Level 3, which is 10 to 15 years old, at this level, children recognize interpositional interactions, which involves themselves and others. Friendships start to involve mutual interest and sharing. Example, a group of friends may collaborate on a project, valuing each member's input and ideas. Level 4, we have 12 years old above. By this age, children accept the complexity of individuals and their relationships. Friendships are characterized by open and flexible dynamics to satisfy complex needs. Example, adolescents may maintain friendship across different social groups, adapting their interactions based on the unique qualities of each friendship. To understand children's relationship with their peers, we can analyze several levels of social complexity. 1, we have individual. Each child has unique skills and temperament affecting their interactions. 2, interactions. Social situation can vary, influencing how children can relate to one another. 3, we have relationships. The nature of their relationships significantly influences a child's character and social development. Lastly, we have groups. Shared beliefs within groups define the type of range of relationship and interactions among children. Now we are going to discuss the various stressors in childhood and how children react to them. First, let's define stress. Stress is anything that upsets our equilibrium both physiologically and psychologically. It can manifest in different ways based on a child's environment and experience. There are several categories of stressors that can affect children. Let's explore each one in detail. 1, two-parent families. In families with two parents, children may experience stress due to new siblings, sibling disputes, moving to a new home, or having working parents who might not be available as much. Example, a child may feel neglected when a new sibling arrives, leading to feeling of jealousy and insecurity. One-parent families. Children in one-parent families might face stress from the presence of multiple adults in their life and the potential lack of a male or female role model. Example, a child may struggle with having a supportive male figure if they are raised solely by a mother, impacting their understanding of gender roles. Third, we have multi-parent families. Children in multi-parent families deal with new relationships and the complexity of living in two households, which can create instability. Example, a child might find it stressful to adapt to the rules and expectation of two different households after a parental separation. Fourth, we have death and adoption. Experiences like parental or sibling death can lead to significant stress. Adoption can also be a source of anxiety as children navigate their feelings about their birth and adoptive families. Example, a child who has lost a parent may have difficulty coping with their grief and may feel isolated from peers. 5. Temporary separation. Situations such as hospitalization, military service, or healthcare can create temporary separations that are stressful for children. Example, a child might feel anxious when a parent is deployed or hospitalized, worrying about their safety and well-being. 6. We got divorce. The stress of divorce can begin before the separation, during the divorce process and can persist long after. Example, children might feel caught in the middle of parental conflicts, leading to anxiety about the relationship with each parent. 7. We have abuse. Abuse, whether physical, sexual, or emotional, creates a significantly and lasting impact on children. It can come from parents, siblings, or even institutional environments. Example, a child who experiences emotional abuse may struggle with self-esteem and trust issues as they grow older. Next, we got neglect. Physical or emotional neglect can severely affect a child's development and sense of security. A child who is consistently left alone without proper care may develop attachment issues and feelings of unworthiness. 9. Alcoholism. Living with an alcoholic parent can create an unstable home environment leading to various stress-related issues. Example, children of alcoholics may experience anxiety, fear of unpredictability, and the burden of responsibilities beyond their years. Now, let's explore some factors that can influence how a child reacts to these stressors. Number 1, we have sex. Research indicates that males may be more vulnerable to stress. Yes, a male. Parents often shelter girls more than boys, leading to different experiences and responses to stress. Example, a boy might be discouraged from experiencing sadness, while a girl may receive more support and understanding during tough times. Number 2, we have age. A child's age significantly affects their ability to recognize and cope with stress. Less than 6 months, infants do not possess the cognitive capacity to recognize stress. 2 to 3 years old, young children may not understand stress and often blame themselves for family issues. Middle childhood, 6 to 12 years old, or 4 to 11 years old. As children grow, they develop greater cognitive abilities, making them more aware of stressors, yet they also gain better coping mechanism. Example, a 6-year-old might react to a parent argument with confusion and self-blame, whereas a 10-year-old may articulate their feelings and seek support from friends. Lastly, we have temperament. A child's temperament influences how they interact with their environment and handle stress. Some children are naturally more resilient, while others may be more sensitive to stress. Example, a child with an easygoing temperament might adjust better to changes in routine than a child who is more anxious and requires more structure. In summary, understanding various stressors that can affect children and factors that influence their reactions can help us to provide better support. It's crucial to create safe, nurturing environments where children can express their feelings and learn coping strategies. Now we have reached the end of our discussion. I hope you learned something new and I hope you listened very well. And if you did not, in some parts, you can just replay it by yourselves. Some of what I said or discussed in the lecture, or some of it are not part of the handout, and that might also come out of your exam. So better to listen to this discussion. And thank you for listening. Have a great day.